Today I'm going to be talking about which legendary characters are actually worth getting. Legendary characters for me in this game are really hit or miss, and I think a really big reason why is because gold characters already have a lot of different passives, and so to really get a good legendary character, it's really hard, man. They really got to add something super special and super unique to that legendary character to actually make him worth it. And in this game, about I think 50% of the legendary characters aren't really worth it, or at least they might be cool, but they don't really do anything for you in the long run, or they just don't do anything that I think any other gold character could do. Also, keep in mind that when you're seeking to get a legendary character, it's not going to be like a 1 month project or something like that, because chances are you're not going to get lucky in chests, and also chances are you probably don't want to spend money on the game, or at least not that much money, because legendary characters are really expensive. So it's incredibly important that you really think about when you're going to spend your gems, how many gems you want to spend, and which character you want to try to get when you're trying to go for a legendary character. Okay, so with that little warning out of the way, the first character I'm going to talk about is Arkham Knight Batman. Alright, so Arkham Knight Batman by himself isn't the most amazing legendary character or anything like that. As a matter of fact, by himself, I don't really think you should go out and try to get him. However, when you pair him up with Heartbreaker Harley Quinn and Entangling Poison Ivy, that turns Heartbreaker Harley Quinn into the best damage dealer in the game. And the main reason why is because Arkham Knight Batman can stun opponents, even sub-bosses and bosses in raids. And of course, Heartbreaker Harley Quinn has that passive where whenever an opponent is stunned, she's going to be doing even more damage. I know a lot of people really care about doing a lot of damage in raids, and so Arkham Knight Batman, he's going to be a really great support. As a matter of fact, I don't even want to say that he's going to be a great support, because you can't really switch him out for anybody else. He is the support. He is one of the main components to making the strongest team in raids. Now let's talk about passives. His passive 1 makes it so that his teammates gain extra hazard dot damage. He gives extra defense for tech and agility teammates, and he gives extra health for tech and agility teammates as well. Moving on to his second passive, it makes it so that Batman or any teammates regenerate health and power when knocking out an opponent. And finally, his passive 3 makes it so that he can interrupt and counterattack specials from metahuman opponents, leaving them stunned for a few seconds. In terms of his special abilities, his special 1 automatically crits on stunned opponents, and his special 2 can stun opponents including sub-bosses and bosses. Moving on to the next character, now we're going to talk about Batman Ninja Gorilla Grodd. Batman Ninja Gorilla Grodd is definitely a unique support character, and I really like him. He's really fun to use, and he also allows you to do a lot of damage in arena, in raids, or wherever. The main reason why he's so useful and so unique is because of his passive 1 and his passive 3. So his passive 1 makes it so that whenever you're doing a combo string and you land your 5th attack, you will be doing extra damage on that 5th attack, and you will also be decreasing the amount of damage that the opponent is going to be doing, and you decrease their defense as well. And his passive 3 makes it so that whenever he lands an unblocked lethal attack hit, he will gain power. So while you're doing a combo string, not only are you going to be doing more damage on your 5th attack, but you're also going to be taking away the opponent's defense and a part of their damage, and you're also going to be getting power at the same time with your basic attack hits. That is super fun to do. Keep in mind that these buffs only work for himself and his Batman Ninja teammates, which means that if you're going to pair Batman Ninja Gorilla Grodd with, let's say, King of Atlantis Aquaman, it's really no big deal. You can just make Batman Ninja Gorilla Grodd be the one that's doing the combo strings, so that way you can still keep your buffs. Another really great thing about Batman Ninja Gorilla Grodd is the way that you can get his shards, because getting his shards is pretty easy. You can just go collect them through the Versus challenge. You are going to have to wait for his challenge to pop up, but there all you have to do is fight a couple of battles and you'll collect shards. To finish talking about this character, now we're going to look at his passive 2 and then his special abilities. So his passive 2 makes it so that when he's at 30% of health, Gorilla Grodd temporarily boosts his lethal attack chance and heals himself for a percentage of his basic damage dealt. Now to his special abilities, his special 1 does more damage towards blind opponents, and his special 2 is a reflective shield, and we all know how overpowered those are. And finally, his special 3 makes it so that whenever it's activated, any sort of healing in the Batman Ninja team will be increased, and a part of it will be distributed to the entire team. Now, before I move on, I just want to say that Batman Ninja Gorilla Grodd and Arkham Knight Batman, the two characters we just went over, are absolutely characters that I think everybody should have. I know that's the entire point of this list, however, I'm still going to talk about 2 other legendary characters that I still think are good enough to the point where you should probably want to have them. The first one I'm going to talk about is Black Manta. Now, Black Manta, me personally, is my favorite legendary character. He's really offensive, he looks badass, he's got a lot of defensive countermeasures so that way you don't really have to die really quickly and you can just focus on attack, attack, attack. Black Manta isn't going to break any sort of damage records in raids or in solo raids, but he's still definitely a viable character and somebody that you should probably have if you want to be doing a lot of damage, just so that you can get those teams lined up of the ones that do a good amount of damage. And Black Manta is one of those characters, but also in Arena and Champions Arena, this guy is really useful because he chips away at everybody's health with his special abilities because they do insane amounts of dot damage and they last for a really long time. And that's all thanks to his passive 1. Now, in terms of his passive 2, every single basic attack hit that he lands that the opponent doesn't block, he will be getting more damage stacked on his next basic attack hit, and that keeps on happening, that keeps on stacking up until 100 times. And his passive 3 does something really similar, where whenever he blocks and he keeps blocking attacks, his block effectiveness is going to keep on increasing. Also, whenever he enters the battle, he gets extra health. In terms of his special abilities, Black Manta can also stun bosses and sub-bosses, but he does a lot more damage than Arkham Knight Batman. That's why a lot of people just prefer to put Arkham Knight Batman with Heartbreaker Harley Quinn, and then put Black Manta as his own character since he's going to be doing a lot of damage by himself anyways. His special 1 reduces power generation for the opponent, his special 2 applies burning which will cut in half the opponent's defense, and his special 3 is the one that does the stun. So overall, Black Manta is a really versatile character. He is obviously going to be a little bit hard to get because he's a legendary character, but I still think he's pretty cool. Moving on to the final character I'm going to talk about, we're going to talk about Justice League Superman. Now, I think this character is a really cool addition to your Justice League team if you already have the Justice League team, and I definitely think that Justice League Superman can do a good amount of damage as well for those of you that want to do a lot of damage in raids and in solo raids. That's why I'm just going to consider him a legendary character that you need to have. So as I said earlier, he's a Justice League teammate, which means that he's going to be getting the buffs of his Justice League teammates, which means that he's probably going to be doing a bunch of basic attack damage because that's just what the Justice League team does. However, in addition, he also has a lot of really cool passives and special abilities. His passive 1 makes it so that if there's any Batmans in the battle that he's fighting in, Justice League Superman will gain attack. And if there's any Wonder Womans in the battle that he's in, Justice League Superman will gain health. And any of those buffs that he has, if he has any Batman or Wonder Woman teammates, will go to them as well. In addition, his passive 2 gives defense to his legendary and Justice League teammates, which is a really good thing because you can keep on focusing on doing damage and not worry about, defensive stats or health stats. Finally, his passive 3 makes it so that whenever Justice League Superman is tagged out and one of his teammates is getting hit by a special from the opponent, Justice League Superman will interrupt that special and slam down and do a lot of damage to the opponent. However, this does have a cooldown between usages, and also unfortunately, Justice League Superman got nerfed with this passive. This passive used to do a lot more damage whenever you slam down on the opponents. Nowadays, it doesn't do as much damage, but it's still pretty helpful. Now let's talk about his special abilities. His special 1, every single time that you use it and there's any sort of negative effects on Superman like dot damage, he will cleanse himself. And his special ability 2 is a reflective shield, but it's not just any regular reflective shield. Not only does it reflect damage, but also any damage reflected will also heal up Superman as well. But just because Justice League Superman is a legendary character, I actually think this fits in pretty well, and I think it's pretty unique. And it keeps on adding to the idea of Justice League Superman, where he already has the Justice League teammates and he already has a pretty good special 3, which we'll talk about in a second. So, he can focus a lot on damage if he just has a couple of defensive passives and a couple of defensive, buffs. And Justice League Superman definitely has a lot of really great countermeasures so that way he never dies. So about his special 3. His special 3 does a decent amount of damage. It won't be breaking any records or anything like that, but remember, we're still going to be doing a lot of damage with our basic attack hits on top of the special 3 damage. And also, what the special 3 damage does is it will apply burning, which will cut in half the opponent's defense. sometimes I honestly can't really decide which character I prefer between Black Manta and Justice League Superman. I don't really care that much about the damage, that's just me personally. I really care about which character is more fun. And I don't know, man. Black Manta seems really, really fun. He does a good amount of damage. I definitely know that he does a lot more damage than Justice League Superman. But Justice League Superman, man, he's got a lot of really cool things going for him, like that reflective shield and the fact that he's going to be doing a lot of basic attack damage with his Justice League teammates. I don't know, man. I just think this character is really, really fun and definitely a character you want to have. Alright, so before I go, I just want to say that one of the reasons why I didn't include Darkseid is really simply because I know that he does a decent amount of damage, just like pretty much everybody else on this list, but for me, tanks just aren't really that special. Now, I know that Darkseid is legendary, he's got that barrier, he's got that hellfire, and that's cool and all, but at the end of the day, you know, you can pretty much build any character out there to be a tank, so I don't know, I just felt like he wouldn't fit in with this list. And I definitely don't think he's a character that you absolutely need to have, or not even a character really that you want to have. Yes, again, he does decent damage and he's tanky, but pretty much everybody can do decent damage and can be tanky as well. Anyways, guys, with all that being said, I hope you guys have a nice day. Stay safe and stay clean, and I'll see you guys later.